Hello and welcome to my gameplay walkthrough video. This is going to be for myself primarily. For myself, the mod level designer, Alex IGNAT, that's my last name. So I will show you how the game has been done, what I have created, what the rest of the team has made, and so forth. So when you first start the game, you start off in the menu screen. So as you can see, everything is placed around the game. Everything that you see here, level design wise, placement wise, I have done using all of the models from the modeler. So these modular buildings that you see here have came and are from the modeler, as well as with these cars that have, and onto the next point, have everything that you see here has been textured by our programmer, because it was a case of like emergency situation where like the textures didn't want to apply. We had to like create new a quick method to try and make the game less blunt than usual. So we've come up with or the programmers kind of come up, and I've kind of tried to help him out with what should be placed around with the textures and stuff. But yeah, based off of also the AI, as you can see here, has also been done by the programmer. So he's programmed them to walk around and damage you in the game. So this is kind of like a sneak peek at like what you can expect in the game, and like how they can like come after you and so forth. So when we press play, you can get into the game, and as you can see, the character here has everything that has to do with the character and the mechanics and the programming has been done by the modeler. The programmer. I get those words confused all the time. So the assault rifle and the RPG both have ammo that you have to pick up through the game, generally speaking. So yeah, when you go through, you do have to you can look around and you can see the modeler has done like the fences. He's done most of the like assets over here, like the trees, the poles, and other like grass textures and models. But yeah, basically this is an area here which is where you start the game off of. This is basically to set you off into a split level design where you get to choose where you go. However, you will end up either way the same place, so there's not much risk into it because we didn't want to do this yet at this early stage in the level. As you can see, this building right here I have created. So this open apartment buildings, if you see an apartment building like this with an open door and the inside, I have created the building itself in like week 3, I believe. Week 2 I did start development in week 2. But yeah, I did start development on these, as well as these closed apartments which I only used over here, which were supposed to, all of these buildings realistically speaking were supposed to be block out buildings. However, we had to use them as the modeler had like no time to create further general speaking buildings and assets and all sorts of stuff. So the stairs, the doors and everything I have created. However, all the textures that you will see in the game have been done by the programmer, because he has found a quick emergency method to add textures to assets that we needed. So this building, basically you have to go upwards and you can go up in here, and this is basically the open rooms, which as well I have created and I've placed around. However, the models here that you see, like the cupboard, the drawers, the bed, the couch, the table, all the kitchen appliances, these have been made by the modeler. All I have done is imported them into the game, placed them, rescaled them with the interior of my building, and I have done that all over the place in these 4 similar rooms. Basically all you have to do left in these buildings is you go up and then you go onto the roof, which is where you could find some zombies, and you definitely find pickups in order to help yourself go around, and it also gives an incentive to go up to these rooftops. One of the mechanics that we've not yet been able to finish is jumping off of the roof and like giving ourselves like ragdoll death animation, but however you do not die yet using that because we've not had time to do it yet. So you can see some trash on the floor that has been made by the modeler. Again, the grass bushes and the fence, the pole, trees have been made by the modeler. One thing that I have to note, however, is as you can see outside of the level, I have created and added windows to these LOD styled buildings which were basically made just specifically to be made outside of the level, so it gives an immersion and feeling that there is more out there outside the playable zone for the player to kind of immerse themselves in and realize that there is much more of a city outside of the playable area. Moving on, you can obviously shoot the zombies, and moving on to the program mechanics that I will talk further into the programmer's walkthrough. You can see that there are stamina pickups that go on the floor, and you can obviously switch to the RPG, shoot the zombies, try and kill them, and so forward. So if I get a little bit far away, yeah, you can do most of that. But primarily speaking, there is a lot of stuff going on with the game. There are some bugs that you would see there. It didn't really work for some reason. Sometimes it does bug out, however most of the time it does just work randomly. Oof, and there's like the lag coming from the RPG. But yeah, that's pretty much some of the mechanics that you can expect. Moving on to the modular buildings, as you can see, this is a modular building. Basically, it is a building block that you can stack on top of each other to create different designs, and I have done this in Unreal Engine using the modular assets to create the city, the rest of the city. So as you can see, I've done that on this skyscraper here, and I've done it on these apartment buildings that go outwards as well. So yeah, as you can see, obviously the trees that the model has done and the level design that I've tried to implement in the game is create kind of a road, kind of like middle city area-esque, basically to give the feel that there's kind of how should I say, more of a intersection area to the game, so it kind of gives the feeling of like what would have been here if it would have been a real city, and what would have been if there were real cars going around. I tried to make it practical so that if it was to be a real city, cars would be able to go the way they should go, and it would not be any different from kind of a real city. As you can see, this is the kind of the last stretch of the level over here. Either way that you go, that way or that way, you kind of end up in the same area, which is why we kind of tried to, or we wanted to do at the end, a level design scheme where you would have a final boss area, and you'd be able to split off into two areas. One area would be a dead end, and one area would be the boss fight. And once you would beat the boss fight, you would wake up in a hospital. Now, you might be wondering, why would you wake up in a hospital? Well, it's because this game does take place in a coma after the main character kind of had a fight with the antagonist, which you would have beat in the final boss area. However, we did not have time to do that, so we kind of resolved to remaking this ending area, kind of like, as you can see here, it says reach the towers, which would be over there, and then obviously you have this open field area which the player would randomly go to and obviously think that this is the way to go, and then the game would end with a to be continued sign saying that's the game, pretty much. Maybe a to be continued, maybe a part 2 where you would fight and finish the game. But however, for now it is like that. And one thing to show is the credits do work. We have credits for the distant city, the game concept, level design, programming and modeling, and all the sorts, and you can also quit the game if you want to. So that's about it for my gameplay walkthrough. Again, I've done pretty much all of the level design in the game. I've tried to make it so it is based on my game concept, Eastern European-esque city, which I feel like I've done a semi-decent job at. However, I feel like using better models, more time, I could have had a better level design aspect to the game. So that's it from me. That's my gameplay walkthrough, and see you later.